Good morning. Do you guys hear me now? Hopefully. Let's see. Let's see what's happening with the thing. I'll tell you, we are on the team side putting lots of sleepless nights to come up with some super cool, innovative solutions. Um, and it seems like we came up with something interesting just 10 minutes ago. Literally. Well, yesterday night, technically, but went over this 10 minutes ago, and it seems like it's working for the bridge, which is quite exciting. But without further ado, Mr. Adike, good morning. Thank you so much for making it too. Okay, so how many people are watching us? We have something interesting. Punchin, hi, hi, hi. You're the guy who always asks, when are we launching? You can ask this question again now. And the answer is going to be the same. Okay. Hopefully you guys see it. Try to make this, try to put in the settings the quality. Instead of 360, try to put 720 pixel or 1080. Because today we're going to cover something interesting. So first things first, right? Ahead of this Uniswap Ghost DAO, the Ghost DAO essentially simulation for the day. That's the demo. That's what we're going to do today. More or less opening this publicly to the whales. The announcements about it will come out sometime this weekend/Monday. So you guys literally getting the first glimpse. And the difference between having a demo in Web3 versus having a demo in Web2 is it's just more difficult to do a demo in Web2. For the reasons of so for the Web3 is more difficult for the reasons of in Web3 you have to essentially put all the elements together. Everything has to be like connected, meaning how to say, like every single piece of business logic needs to be accommodated before showing. So we cannot just demo the user interface and say, hey, like, this element works like that, this element works like that. In Web3, everything kind of works together. And kind of, it's difficult to stage things. Now you would say, well, how come? Like, you guys are staging the chain in different elements. No, we're not staging the chain in different elements. With chain, we are staging user interfaces. The backend is there, right? Like, we're just slowly uncovering new user interfaces and new functionality. Of course, when we do a big, big fork, like say from Ghost version 2.0 to Ghost version 3.0, 2.0 to 3.0 or 3.1, yes, of course, there have been some instrumental changes to that backend per se, like some new functionality has been finalized, has been added. But mostly we just adding user interfaces to the Explorer, mostly to the Explorer to the Ghost Eye, right? Like how you guys can become a validator. Here's new Casper. Here's this new API. Like functionality is there, right? Like it's the user interface that I'm uncovering slowly. Same thing with the DAO, with Ghost DAO. The functionality has to be there. So we couldn't have done this earlier, but we did this within the time that we wanted. I personally wanted to launch this before the March 31st, specifically because we have some important seat covering for the council as well before March 31st. So I kind of wanted to match that timeline just to show just a demo. And this will be public. It's already public. So in fact, why am I going to localhost? What's wrong with me? If I can just go to, let me just get a link. 1 second. Yeah, for some reason, wait a second. Let me get this. Yeah, because I have this on my local host locally, but it's already deployed. Yeah, how come I'm not using the right link? What's wrong with me? Oh, all right. So here, you guys can see it now, right? So this is already deployed on app.dao.ghostchain.io, publicly available to you guys as well. So yeah. Problems with the TG-bot, I think they're fixed, so check them out. I think what happened with the TG-bot before we moved to the Ghost DAO, some people boosted the group, and I think that led to some inconsistencies. The API essentially started banning stuff because all of a sudden now there's just more than one admin. So the database started becoming clustered. So we just cleaned up the database and that's it. It resolved it. So I think it was just kind of a specific Telegram specific type of issue. We cleaned down the queue overnight. So try your Twitter should be working today. Yesterday did not work. Today should be working. Okay. So before we move to the DAO, right, to the Ghost DAO, quick you know, you need to appreciate kind of what's happening, like why we're doing certain things, why certain aspects are launched. So this article, KYC Uniswap integration deployed by Purify. But not everyone is convinced. No fucking way. Good morning, Met Nomad. Not everyone is convinced. What do you mean not everyone is convinced? What the hell? Like, what are they supposed to be convinced about? What? About the fact that a DEX should have a KYC? If a DEX has a KYC, question is, why do we need a DEX? What else should we do there? And I think Uniswap is just preparing. They just started, aggressively preparing the managers at Uniswap because, I mean, the cool dudes I think left this project a long time ago. The managers of Uniswap started preparing for this new IRS law, most likely, and they started introducing KYC to then send you guys Form 1099s. That's very nice for Web3 industry. It's extremely freaking nice. And it says, this providers like ZK Proof, this and that, and Purify, whatever. And of course, the managers have no fucking clue that anything ZK Proof. The reason why Ethereum is not very anonymous, although it could be, there's this technology called Zether, which we actually utilized for Austral. And the reason why Zether, great research paper written years ago, the reason why it did not get implemented on Ethereum, the only reason is because of the fees. Because everything ZK is extremely fucking expensive. Now, Ethereum dropped the fees 20 times, maybe 50 times. Okay, still expensive. It's still expensive for every single transaction to do some type of KYC. Why? Because every single transaction you have to do it. And you have to pay for that specific ZK transaction. So managers have no idea what they're doing. They're just complying with the law to get the promotion and get the fuck out of the project to move the ladder back in, and then go into AI or something. So long story short, that's what we have. And if this is not a signal that yet another signal that the industry Web3 is really under oppression. By the way, lots of lawsuits are closed. They're dropped. Pretty much almost, I wouldn't say all of them, but many lawsuits are dropped in crypto. I would probably like to thank the current U.S. administration, whoever's in charge. Me personally, when reading those news about stuff being dropped, lawsuits being dropped, that's of course very relaxing. Like it definitely gives a peace of mind. Because before, every single time you open a news feed, you see SEC send this letter to that, send a letter to the send a letter to, like, every single, like, as somebody involved with developing this stuff and and investing lots of my personal time into this project, of course, it's uneasy. Like, your sleep life is not good. I don't remember the last time I slept for like 8 hours in a row. Maybe I sleep like every 2 weeks or every one. Like, I don't know. Typically, because there's lots of stress and anxiety, mostly from this complete unawareness of. Because if US would just say, listen, we're going to regulate the shit out of it, then we'll just all move out of the US. Like, it's very simple. But US is not, like, they were not saying that before, right? United States was like, oh, we're pro crypto, we're pro Web3. But at the same time, let's like clandestinely, secretly, like not give any clarity and just kind of make situation, more stringent. So it should be either let's make it very, very free oriented, like, like kind of the Wild West. And if you're an investor who decided to lose money, invest in a project, in hopes of huge APYs without doing your own research, and then you lost money, that's your fucking problem. With all due respect. Of course, if it was a rug pull, even that, your own problem. Because you can go ahead and analyze the smart contracts, hire a developer and do that. Like if you're investing, more than $10,000, it makes sense to hire somebody for $100 just to review the smart contracts. Quickly. I explain to you what's happening. It's not going to be the audit, but it is something, right? If you invest in $100,000, it definitely makes sense to hire somebody. And if you're not doing this, then kind of it's on you. Or you just know you're just able to figure this out yourself. So you're either going to be like super kind of light on the regulations, or conversely, you're going to be very, very stringent, but be open about being stringent. And US was not. And now I think they are being more light. They're still not being clear, but they're being light. And that's okay. Right? Like you're either going to be clear and stringent, then in that case, everybody will leave the fuck out of the United States from perspective of domicile and doing business, etc. And that's what everybody did. Like you cannot imagine how many legal conversations I overheard, I was personally part of, regarding domiciling outside of the US. Since 2020. It's insane. Like it's been 50% of the time figuring out the structure, because the structure is super costly. Like you have to do, sometimes it's Panama LLC, sometimes it's BVI LLC, sometimes it's Bermuda, sometimes it's El Salvador. Most often it's a combination of LLCs, right? Like for every single arm of your operations, you're doing a new LLC. Like there's a legal LLC, the one responsible for token issues is in BVI. Because it's zero tax and crypto friendly. And then the operations is in Panama. And then there are local LLCs in the United States that do pay local taxes to pay salaries, like stuff like that. Like it's been crazy. And it's not helping. Like when you have to think about legal stuff, and that's very serious if you guys think it's not, like it's extremely serious. Like 50% of your focus and time and anxiety goes about that. It's not cool. So what Uniswap is doing, I mean, they were just like, I'm pretty sure this project started, like a year ago. They integrated today in response to this 1099 rule by the IRS. That kind of, those rumors were out there for at least a year for sure. The only thing is, hopefully you don't need this anymore. And if this Uniswap kind of proceed with KYC, they proceed with it. And we have no other option but just to do our own DEX. And now here's the thing, Uniswap. So Uniswap has different versions, V4, V3, V2. So V4 is a new one. That's the KYC integration. Chances are V3 will also be integrated with KYC. V2, though, cannot. It's non-upgradable smart contracts. Oops. Managers did not know about that. And Uniswap, I mean, still to some extent, and used to be absolutely, cool cats of the industry, when they launched the essentially like completely immutable, completely non-upgradable smart contracts for V2, it means that those can be used forever and ever. Nothing can be done with nothing. Nothing can be changed. And that's that's exactly what we preached as the entire Web3 industry. That's exactly what we preached. And Uniswap managers just don't know about that. So we're all going to be switching back to V2. Now, the reason why that's important, like again, you think that you think this is not serious. Like you think, oh, this is just an article about KYC. But here's the thing, like same thing applies to this, to the stock market. Like for example, like, when Bitcoin believers say, there's no chart of Bitcoin here, but we have S&P 500, which is red, gold is yellow, and Dow Jones is blue, and silver is gray. And this is a 10-year chart, right? And when we see that S&P 500 didn't really grow much compared to gold. I mean, it did, but it didn't grow much compared to gold. Like it's up 175% in 10 years, and gold is up 152% in 10 years. So the delta is tiny, and gold keeps growing, and S&P keeps dropping, and it shouldn't drop more because the P ratio is through the roof. Like when Bitcoin believers have been telling everybody, hey, listen, something is wrong with the market. Hey, listen, like they're printing money. Hey, listen, let's do Bitcoin because otherwise we're not going to be able to fight inflation. Most people still say, fuck that, because S&P is up. But guess what? Gold is also up. So in gold terms, S&P 500 is flat for 10 years. Fucking flat for 10 years. if gold is a representation of inflation, the stock market with all this AI BS did not grow it grew about 25% in 10 years. So less than 2.5% per year. How is that? With all GDP grew more than S&P 500. I mean, of course, GDP grew not gold adjusted, but you know what I mean, right? So this is like just to put stuff in, like stuff is happening, like things are changing. As an empire, I think what's happening, what's trying to be done at the moment is, United States is trying to be fixed, and I'm not trying to be political here, but the forces are real. There's definitely migration of power and decentralization of power. It's no longer just United States. Now it's China. Now it's India. India is huge. It's becoming absolutely a huge, huge, huge player. Like IT, military, trade, right? Then you have the Middle East. You have Saudi Arabia. Obviously you have Israel. You also have Iran. You have Turkey, right? You have those forces. Then situation in Europe. It's Germany. Germany versus United Kingdom, right? And then obviously Europe versus Russia, right? So all these geopolitical things, they are real. The numbers are here. Like the gold is growing almost as the gold that is not producing. It's not. Warren Buffett said gold is not supposed to produce anything, right? Well, how the fuck is it then almost matching S&P 500 that is producing all this genius AI revolution that we all? I'm not going to say what we're doing to it. It's going to be way too inappropriate. The whole world is doing something to it, to this AI, in excitement, watching it. So, to those who think that this KYC style stuff is not real, it is real. It's equally as real as this trend. And we have to fight, we literally have to fight against it. Like, how do we fight against it? We need to be proactive. We need to build products around this and get market adoption, right? And users like yourself, use it, like it, and tell your friends. And that's how we grow, literally, because there has not been that many exciting projects launched in crypto, in Web3, in the last, I would say, 2-3 years. I would say the last exciting project was probably Olympus DAO. Maybe that was it. But before, remember, it was Dexus. It was also borrowed lending protocols, like Aave Compound. Forgot about that, right? MakerDAO was before that. So obviously Bitcoin, after Bitcoin was Ethereum. Like, there was actually so much freedom in the air, so much hope. And yes, there was lots of hopium, absolutely, but there's also actual hope. So we just need to keep moving. And that's the reason why with DAO, the reason why I kind of made this long introduction is, here's Uniswap V2. Here's Uniswap V2. Fuck V4. Fuck KYC. And V3, to some extent, can go fuck themselves too. So it's really V2, most likely. And it's stellar, it's beautiful, it's genius, and developers agree across the world that this is perhaps the best design ever. And it's integrated with the Ghost DAO. And we're going to integrate SushiSwap. Now, SushiSwap, by the way, is totally normal. They are V2 monopolized versus V3. They did launch V3 and didn't go anywhere, so it's really V2. For V3, I think it's the big boys like Tether and Circle pushing the agenda and the TVL. But all the projects still launching on V2 for Uniswap. So what we're going to do, what we intend to do, as we mentioned before, is we intend to become the testing heaven for anybody who wants to test their dApps and they need a DEX. So on this DEX, yes, we have GDAI, as you can see. GDAI, not DAI, GDAI. This is Ghost fucking DAI, finally. And thanks for your patience, by the way. But you can equally list any token you want, right? So any token, whether it's our token or not, you can list it. Just simply, insert the token thing. If you cannot find it here, you'll be able to import it. So anybody in the world, like developers in the world, who want to use GhostDAO or not, they can still use V2 DEX for their purposes. They can still, custom, insert, custom import, therefore, custom tokens into this DEX, and this DEX will be working perfectly because this is a universal user interface for any V2, any trade pair. So that way we can get significant traffic of developers who are just tired because they cannot find Uniswap V2 anywhere. It's crazy on testnets. Like if I want to launch a dApp, I need to have an environment. I need to have GDAI, right? Like a stable coin, and I need to have a DEX. Like those are, in most cases, not always, but in most cases, those are two very important conditions. And often, more often than not, they have to launch their own stablecoin and they have to launch their own DEX. And we help them here. So essentially, first of all, you can go ahead and I'll demonstrate this. You can go ahead and claim GDAI. Currently, the rate is 2,000. That's the price. Current price is roughly 2,000. This price can be changed. So it will be changed from time to time. So today it's a 2,000 GDAI per 1 ETH. So all you do is just put your Sepolia Ethereum, get GDAI through this faucet. Then you go to the DEX, and then you can interact with this DEX. You can list your own pair, integrate, essentially create your own pair from scratch, like GDAI versus token XYZ, and go from there. So we introduced stablecoin, we introduced a DEX. We're probably going to introduce more DEXs, probably SushiSwap, maybe Balancer, maybe 1inch. And we also will try to do this on multiple testnets. And then we're going to do something similar on the mainnets. So you'll be able to trade with Uniswap directly through GhostDAO. That's kind of the concept. That's the idea. That's what we need to discuss with the council as well, also with the whales. But that's kind of the thinking process. Any questions before I move further? Let me quickly do something. I'll unshare the screen. So please ask if you guys have any questions. That's important. Okay. Okay, beautiful. Okay, we don't have any questions. Good. Let me go back. Okay, I just wanted to change something, to check something. Okay. Now, I just went ahead and connected the wallet. Here's my wallet, right? Here's my MetaMask with 0.45 Sepolia ETH. It's from Casper Auction, one of those final tests we had. And here, what I could do is I could interact with the faucet. So first things first, let's go ahead and request a little bit of GDAI. So what you guys should do, by the way, that's another link. Let me actually send one more link then, since we're talking about this. So in order for you to get ETH, which you don't have, you need to get it. So you need to get it. You can read this article here. As I mentioned before many times. So this Ghost Faucet, that's the first one is ours. So you can just go here, claim it here. But I think we do restriction of every 24 hours or so. So you're not going to be able to drip it. And don't try to drip our freaking faucet. Like drip other faucets. Like this faucet also for you guys, but also for other people, right? Like we need to get traffic. This is a traffic generation tool. This is not to feed the community. This is to feed the world. Right, so don't try to misuse this. Try to misuse others, right? Like go ahead and misuse all these other fuckers here. Like number two, by the way, is very good. It's also non-KYC, and then as we mentioned many times, Alchemy. Go there, request these ones, right? So do that. There may be some others. Be very careful when you're doxing yourself. So don't dox yourself much, but be very careful and get some ETH. Right? Get some Sepolia ETH. Question from Mr. IDK. Will we be able to do trades with a minimal amount of set ETH, given that we can only get small amounts from the faucet? Yes. If you can only get small amounts from the faucet, you're doing it wrong, because the faucet gives you 0.01, which is about $20, 20 DAI. You're doing it wrong. You need to claim. I'm able to claim through this faucet, for example, through this one. I'm able to claim 1 ETH per day. Yeah, it's not easy, but I'm able to do it every day. You guys should be able to do the same. like this one. That used to be good. Right now it's KYC. You can still do this Gitcoin passport thing, which I did, providing fake information. Well, whatever. Whatever information, not going to say this, some type of information, but without revealing who am I. And you can also go ahead and do, Google with Gmail. Create a fake Gmail account. You'll be able to get 0.05, 0.03 ETH every time you request it, every day, every 24 hours. So it's a limitation in your head. You need to research this space. Like, yes, if you're only claiming 0.01, that's not going to be fun. You need to request more. We mentioned many, many times. That's a great question. Like, and that applies to everybody. We mentioned many, 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 many times. Like, we think whales are not very active, but they're supposed to be, even on the validator side, because we only have 31 validators and we have 80 nodes. So how come not every single node is a validator? There's enough Casper for everybody. And the curve, the APY staking curve, is not real. The reason why validators are not active is because this is not real money. This is like tested environment, and people like, oh, whatever. Because the real APY could be maximum APY could be 69%. I think today is like 40. So it's not even there. Like, so same thing with this. Like, if you think that this is not real, if you think this is just like, oh, Harpo just told me to try now, and that's why I'm doing it, that's the wrong approach. You're doing this because you need to understand how the fuck this works. Because when it's real money, if you lose it, nobody will be able to help you recover this. Like, that's it. Like, if you, God forbid, lost your money by doing a bad trade, nobody can do anything. Nobody can fucking do anything. And kind of the only thing I'll be personally saying, we told you to do it. I'll be saying, we told you. Like, we screamed, please do it. I'm screaming now, please fucking try to use every single piece of the. One guy reached out to me 2 days ago. What's the roadmap? What's the roadmap of Ghost? I'm like, are you a validator? I already know. He's like, yes. Are you a validator? No, I'm not. Why asking about the roadmap if you're not using the features that are ready today? He's like, oh yeah, I'll become a validator. He did not become a validator. Hopefully he will. Maybe, hopefully he's just collecting his Casper. I think he's not going to do anything. Like, this is when this will turn into real money. Like, there will be no help. The reason why there will be no help is every single time. For example, you can ask me, like, with real money, can I do this trade? I'm not going to be able to tell you, can you do this trade? Because if I tell you to do this trade and you lose money from this trade, that's a financial recommendation. So now I'm liable. I'm not going to be liable. I don't want to be like, and nobody will. Like, right? Like, but here on the testnet, you can experience arbitrage opportunities. You can experience what happens when you buy, what happens when you sell. What's the dynamics? How does the DEX work? How does Ghost DAO work? Then with the bridging, how does the bridging work? Like, it's so freaking important. Of course, you need a lot of Ethereum. And we even created the article. Faucet will give you 0.01 per day, but which is like better than anything else with no KYC. But these other ones you can easily get, right? So you need to get those ETH. Like, I cannot stress this enough. You have to get ETH. Figure it out. Have to figure it out. It's not that difficult. Okay, now I got half an ETH. So obviously more than what you guys are going to be getting. But let me go ahead and request 0.1, right? So when I'm doing 0.01 ETH, I'm at 2,000 multiplier. I'm getting 20 GDAI, obviously, right? So boom, mint. Of course, for that, I have to pay another transaction fee. That's okay. So I'll pay that. Boom. And so here, I just have 0.045 ETH, if you guys see it, right? So I will have less in a second once the transaction goes through. Boom, just reduced, right? Now, what happened? What happened is if I check GetDAI and check an Etherscan. So I can check an Etherscan immediately. So everything is super user-friendly. Here's my address of GDAI, right? So currently we have 8 holders of GDAI. 14 seconds ago, which was probably me, somebody requested it. Good, somebody requested 20 GDAI. Beautiful. So here, all I do is I import the token, Control V, it's GDAI, beautiful, and I have 20 GDAI in my wallet. Booyah, kasha, amazing. 20 GDAI. So now, and my balance updated immediately here as well. Now the multiplier is still 2,000. The multiplier is just going to be the price, right? Like if Ethereum goes to 3,000, it's going to be 3,000. If Ethereum drops to 1,500, it's going to be 1,500. So I mean, when it's around 2,000, it's just going to be 2,000 because it's just too much to change. Now, what I can do now is go ahead and buy some FATSO. So we have these like weird tokens, FATSO Stinky. It's going to be changed within a week. Think about FATSO as e-ghost. You need to get FATSO. Who is FATSO? Who is Stinky? Those are the ghosts from the Casper sequel. But they will be changed to e-ghost and s-ghost respectively. So, I mean, I have 20 GDAI, so how about I just go ahead and buy it? Now, you see, like, the current price is 0.003. With 20 GDAI, my impact is going to be not that much, 0.006. So I'm probably going to go for it, right? So, but first things first, I need to first of all approve GDAI from my wallet, right? So there are always 2 transactions to make sure. You don't see the pop-up, but it comes up. So that's another transaction. You approve GDAI first. So what you do is you give the permission to the smart contract to spend your GDAI. The reason why you do this is to make sure that you're not getting hacked. So that's just a traditional 2-way system. You only need to approve it once. Then you can do unlimited transactions after that. But the first time is approval. So once it's been approved, I will go ahead and swap it. So I want to get some FATSO. Okay, confirm. Boom. Now, we also have this amazing thing here, FATSO here. By the way, we probably need to add, if the team is watching, we probably need to add, like, check an Etherscan, maybe the links. Let me actually, before I forget, to make sure that we have it. Okay. However, besides that, we can also check the wallet here. So if I check my balance, you see how I have 19.98 FATSO? Well, 19.84 FATSO, which is equivalent to $19.98, right? Roughly. So boom. So that's my e-ghost. So I just got e-ghost. So essentially what I did, I got Ethereum Sepolia. So traditionally, you would go to Essentials Exchange most likely and get ETH. So then you go ahead and swap that ETH for DAI, for GDAI. You'll do this on the DEX. With us, you'll do this on the faucet for now. And then you go to the DEX, and on the DEX, you're swapping GDAI for FATSO. And then check it on the dashboard what's happening. So I am the one who pushed this price. It used to be $1. Now it's $1.01. Our goal is to see what's going to happen, right? So the backend per FATSO is $3. So currently there's a huge arbitrage because like the price is $1 while the backend is $3. So it's clearly like it's beneficial to buy this at $1, at least until $3. And then the whole point for the treasury is to essentially the treasury is racing against the users. So the treasury is like trying to increase the backing to make sure that every user can exit it, every e-ghost in circulation can be exited at least at $3. So there's a race between increasing this while also increasing the price. And this race is never-ending race. Like it needs to go. It can also go down, but ideally it only keeps growing. And the way how we can grow this is through APYs, which at this point of time, what's the APY? Do we have it? We have infinity. It's not real. Like we'll put something there, but it's going to be like probably 1,000% or 100%, and that's an actual real APY. Like you actually do get that APY. You need to read the light paper of Ghost DAO to understand how this all works. I'm not going to be staking now, although I probably should. And we don't have bonds yet, so these bonds are kind of just for demo. Like they're not active per se, but they will become, like we'll start introducing them next week. So what is expected of you guys is get Ethereum. Start getting it, like start minting it today, and mint it for the next 6 months. Like you should have started doing this like 2 weeks ago, all of us, and I guarantee that very few people did. But you should do this now. We will not be airdropping Sepolia ETH. No fucking way we'll be doing this because we already have the faucet. We did that before for auction. We're not going to do this. No way. Some whales helped us mint Sepolia for the last month. One person minted almost 20 ETH Sepolia, and then the other person minted 5, and that has been very helpful. So 25 Sepolia ETH. Imagine how much that will be, servicing these users here. 0.01. That's like a lot of users we can service. So you should do the same. Moreover, the genius of the faucet is when you get your GDAI, this Ethereum goes to the faucet as well. So boom, we just fulfill the faucet. um, so uh, so get that. Once you get the ETH, swap this for GDAI. Once you get GDAI, swap this for FATSO for EGOS, and then you'll see the price. And you need to see how you impacted the price. I only spent $20, so obviously the price didn't change much. Try putting $1,000 and see the impact. Try to put in $10,000 and see the impact. You'll be fucking blown away how this is crazy, crazy and good. And then we'll be offering bonds as well, so to increase the backend and so on and so forth. So that's the task. The task is to test it, really try it, really ask questions, this and this, like, but be very proactive. We'll be testing Ghost DAO with lots of additions, advancements, updates, etc. for the next month or two. Then we're probably going to be launching this on another deck, another chain as well. We're not going to be bridging them yet, but you'll be seeing the difference in arbitrage. And then we'll be adding the bridging to actually arbitrage those things together. So it's going to be super exciting summer, like going into the summer and summer as well. But you guys need to try every single thing. And don't just try just to check market. Like, you need to understand what's happening. I think we're going to finish here. I think that's been, fruitful enough. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. If not now, ask them in Wales. This will be available again, I think later today, tomorrow, for everybody to play. I mean, it's already available as a public link. I'm just trying to get like the redirect to it. And I think that's it for the day. If no questions, I don't think we do. Don't think we have much questions yet. Yeah, I don't think we have much questions yet. So on this positive note, thank you so much. See you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye bye.